Hi, everyone. You're here because you want to get up to speed quickly on important stuff, right?
Uh-huh.
No wading through jargon, just the key info.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling something pretty big in the world of education. EON Reality's launch of what they're calling a Spatial AI University.
Okay, so our source is mainly EON Reality's own announcement on this.
That's right. And our goal really is to figure out what this thing actually is, why launch it now, and, what could it mean for how we all learn down the line?
And maybe what skills might become more valuable because of shifts like this.
Definitely. So maybe the place to start is, why now? What's the issue they see with universities today?
Good question. What's their take?
Well, their central point is pretty stark. They're basically saying higher education hasn't fundamentally changed its structure in, centuries.
Centuries, wow. So lectures, textbooks, that kind of thing.
Yeah, pretty much. And they argue there's this growing gap, a structural misalignment, they call it, between that old model and what the modern AI-driven world actually needs.
Okay, I can see that. Technologies move so fast. What kind of problems does that gap cause specifically?
It really comes down to skills. AI and machines are getting better and better at routine thinking tasks.
Right, the stuff people used to do.
Exactly. So graduates now need less of that and more complex problem-solving skills, creativity, critical thinking, the stuff that's harder to automate.
And traditional teaching maybe doesn't focus enough on those.
That's the argument. Their chairman, Dan Lajerskar, basically says we're at a historic crossroads and education needs a complete reinvention, not just a tweak.
Okay, reinvention, that's a big word. So what's their solution? What is this Spatial AI University?
They're positioning it as the world's first comprehensive educational transformation platform.
That sounds ambitious. Comprehensive how?
Well, they contrast it with what they see as piecemeal tech solutions, a bit of VR here, an app there. They're aiming for something integrated, covering all subjects, all levels, powered by spatial AI and the specific methodology they have.
Okay, so integrated is key. Let's break it down. What are the core pieces?
The bedrock is the EON XR platform. Think of it as the stage for these immersive learning experiences.
Immersive meaning?
Meaning it works on lots of devices, your phone, tablet, computer, but also, VR and AR headsets. It's meant to be scalable and secure.
Right. And the spatial AI part?
That's woven in to make the learning personal. It adapts the content, the difficulty, to you, the learner.
Personalized learning.
Sure.
We hear that a lot. What else is there?
There's EON AI Ready. This uses AI to take, say, your standard textbook chapter or lecture notes and turn them into interactive 3D models and experiences.
Oh, okay. So instead of just reading about, a human heart, you could actually manipulate a 3D model of it.
Precisely. Makes it much less abstract, more engaging.
Yeah, I can see how that would help things sink in. You mentioned a methodology, too.
Yes, the Learn, Train, Perform methodology. It's their framework for how the learning actually happens.
Learn, train, perform. Okay, what's the learn part?
Learn focuses on using our natural spatial abilities, how we understand things in 3D space, plus visualizing concepts, putting things in context immersively. The idea is faster understanding.
Using how our brains already work, basically. Makes sense. Then train.
Train is about building skills, practicing things in safe virtual environments without real-world risks. Think virtual labs, simulations.
Like flight simulators, but for lots of different subjects.
Kind of, yeah. With feedback in real time and tracking your progress. So you're building actual capabilities, not just knowledge.
Okay, that sounds really useful, especially for hands-on fields. And the final step, perform.
Perform is about applying it all. Project-based work, collaborating with others in these virtual spaces, documenting what you achieve, and importantly, seeing how it connects to potential jobs or careers.
So it links learning directly to application in careers. That seems crucial.
It bridges that gap. And there are a few other tools, too, briefly. There's an AI mentor called Brainy for 247 Help, a no-code tool called Vibe Coder to build learning apps, a career compass for guidance, and an entrepreneur guide.
Wow, quite the toolkit. So putting it all together, what's the actual experience like for a student? How is it different day to day?
Well, the big difference is active engagement. Instead of passively listening, you're interacting with 3D models. That's the spatial understanding part.
Makes abstract stuff tangible.
Exactly. Then there's the interactive learning, actually doing things in virtual settings, practicing skills safely.
Okay.
Plus the AI-guided education, tailoring the experience, and collaborative problem solving, working with classmates in shared virtual environments.
So it's more active, more personalized, more collaborative. and geared towards specific skills.
Yes, specifically skills they see as crucial for the future. AI literacy, complex problem solving, creative thinking, ethical decision making, advanced research, things like that.
And is this just a concept, or do they have a rollout plan?
They do. It's phased. Starting with research centers, then expanding to key university departments, and finally aiming for global deployment and a marketplace for this kind of content.
So it's a structured plan.
Mm.
Let's bring it back to the listener. If you're a student, or maybe an educator, what are the supposed big wins here?
For students, the promise is pretty compelling. They talk about learning faster, potentially 4 times faster, based on some comparisons they cite.
4 times, that's huge.
It is, and much higher engagement, like 275% higher. Plus, the personalized learning paths, developing those future-ready skills we mentioned, and seeing clear links to careers.
Okay, those are big claims. Can you give a couple of concrete examples, like what would I do in a history class versus a biology class?
Sure. So in biology or chemistry, you might explore complex molecules in 3D, zoom right in. In physics, maybe visualize quantum mechanics or stresses on a virtual bridge you build.
Okay.
In history, you could walk through a detailed reconstruction of ancient Rome. For literature, maybe explore interactive narrative environments based on a novel.
Interesting. What about professional fields?
Medicine is a big one. Advanced anatomy visualizations, practicing clinical procedures virtually. Engineering, again, interactive modeling and testing. Business students could run through realistic scenarios. Law students practice in simulated courtrooms.
So it really cuts across different disciplines. The core idea is making it interactive and visual.
That seems to be the thread, yes. Active, visual, experiential.
So, zooming out, is this just the next shiny object in educational tech, or something genuinely different?
Well, EON Reality is definitely framing it as more than just an add-on. They're calling it a paradigm shift. The idea is it's a fundamental rethink of the whole learning process needed for the age of AI.
A paradigm shift.
What?
Strong words.
Indeed. They're essentially saying this is an opportunity for universities to lead, to become pioneers in this new way of educating.
Okay, so the key takeaway for everyone listening seems to be this Spatial AI University concept isn't just about fancy tech. It's proposing a really different way for higher education to work, more immersive, more personalized, hopefully more effective, for preparing people for an AI-driven future.
That sums it up well. It's a potential glimpse into how learning might evolve.
And maybe it leaves us with a thought. If this kind of immersive, AI-powered learning takes hold in universities, what happens next?
Right. How might it spill over into, say, workplace training, or just how we learn new skills throughout our entire lives and careers? What new doors could that open?
Definitely food for thought. If this has piqued your interest and you want to dig deeper, EON Reality does have more info out there. A white paper, their own podcast, and a spoken blog, too.
Yeah, plenty more detail available if you want to explore it further.